This is San Francisco, an area of the world where they get a lot of sea fogs. Now, sea fog is formed when you get warm, moist air coming over a cold sea. It cools the air down, eventually condensing it out into little water droplets, which we call cloud. And if that cloud sits on the surface of the sea, that's sea fog. Behind me is the Golden Gate Bridge, the entrance to the Eastern Pacific, which is a cold body of water. And if we get warm, moist winds coming up from Mexico, coming over this cold water, then sea fog is formed, which rushes its way into the city on these quite strong winds. We're here in the middle of summer, but the temperature is only about 16 or 17 degrees, around 60 degrees Fahrenheit, whereas just a few miles inland where the cloud breaks up, then the temperature can soar up to 30 degrees Celsius. That's near 90 Fahrenheit. The other side of the mountains behind me is the Pacific Ocean. And when the moisture-laden clouds blow in from the sea, most of the rain falls the other side of the mountains. And as the air descends this side, as the warm foehn wind, we get a completely different climate. It's very warm, it's very sunny, and the typical vegetation is this scrubland. But if you end up with a sophisticated irrigation system, you can grow some magnificent crops. The main crops in this valley are vines, because this is the heartland of American winemaking. El Nino is probably the most important natural weather phenomenon discovered in the last 25 years, although the fishermen here along the eastern side of the Pacific have known about it for hundreds, perhaps even thousands of years. Now, normally there's a cold pocket of water along the western side of the United States running down into South America. But during an El Nino event, the very warm water sitting in the western Pacific migrates its way eastwards and changes the weather completely. In fact, it can change the weather across many parts of the globe, particularly through the tropical areas. In an El Nino event, you can have droughts and flooding in Australia. It can interfere with the southwest monsoons in India and also give a lot of droughts and indeed severe flooding in parts of central and southern parts of Africa. This is the Pacific Ocean, and the nearest landmass behind me is thousands of miles away in the Indonesian islands. Now, the sea temperature in the Pacific can vary enormously. It's normally very cold on this eastern side and very warm right on the western side too. And it's that movement of the very warm water around the Indonesian islands eastwards that sets off an El Nino event that can have catastrophic effects on the weather right around the globe. Now, there is some thought that as we go into global warming, then we're likely to get more frequent and stronger El Nino events. But equally well, there are some scientists who think the oceans will in fact be able to absorb many of the greenhouse gases and thus slow down the effects of climate change.